My name is Rachel Gay. I was the manager of Hull City Ladies from 2011 to 2020. Before that, I did actually play 20 years ago, captained Hull City Ladies. So it's been a big part of my life as the club. How I first got involved with the club obviously was from a playing perspective. When Joe Lee created the team back in 2001, there was a lot of young players, a lot of 16, 17-year-olds, and then there were maybe 3 that was into the 20s, and me being one of them.
Jo Symington, captain. Let me start again.
That's the trickiest question.
Don't you be laughing, Rach. Jo Symington, defender, captain, number 9. I think I was about 16 years old. 2 of my best friends also played football, and we decided to join Hull City Ladies. It was quite daunting. There was a few really good players who were a bit older, such as Rachel Gay, who then came to be our coach later on in life.
So I'm Suey Smith. My role at the club is now player, number 15. I was a coach for the last couple of seasons, but put my boots back on for this season. So my favourite memory of being at Hull City Women, there's quite a few, being at the age that I'm at. It'd go back to 2006 when we won the North East Women's Regional League. So it was a very highly contested league.
I remember against all odds, we got to a final, a Yorkshire final. We only started out in the lowest league, and Bradford were flying high that year. We actually went and beat them, and everybody had sort of written us off, and we went and beat them 4-3.
And it was a really tough game away. I remember the conditions. It was really muddy and boggy, and back then you could play on all types of pitches, waterlogged.
And we ended up winning the league on the last game of the season, which was fantastic and a fantastic experience.
And I remember Jenny Mell, who used to always come to every game supporting us, managed to get the Rory outfit and come round the corner in this outfit. And I just remember it was just hilarious. And we drank lots of champagne, and remember going out and just enjoying obviously the victory and the promotion.
And that was back in the day when we had Sarah Owen up front. I played up front with her. She scored all the goals, and I just played the balls through to her, and she went on and played for England, and we had a cracking side. And I was about 26 at the time, 27, and played, captained, had a good time there. But then we lost quite a few players, and I sort of moved away and came into coaching and managing. Went to Beverley Town Ladies and managed and coached them for a number of years. And we grew a very good side, and we played against Hull City on a number of occasions, and we did all right against them, even though they was in a few divisions above. And we, as in Beverley Town, we narrowly missed out on promotion. Hull City Ladies at that point was struggling for players. The players we had there at Beverley Town was really needing a challenge in the next year, so I felt that I might lose a few of those as well, so it seemed a sensible solution to join the 2 clubs.
There was loads of players from Bev Town, right, okay, yeah.
Paul Bradford, who was manager of Hull City Ladies at the time, approached me and said, look, you've got some great players there. We haven't got enough players. Do you want to merge? We'll play in the higher league, and everyone's a winner. And from then on, I never looked back. Coached the side, managed the side, built a really good group of girls over the first few years, and then we just went from strength to strength, gaining 2 promotions under my management from 2011 to 2020.
Yeah, so the early years in my life, I played for Hull City Ladies for quite a few years, and then I actually went to university in Huddersfield and played for Huddersfield Town for at least 3 years, 2 or 3 years, and then I decided to move back home and rejoined Hull City Ladies. I remember it had changed quite a bit because our rivals, who was Bev Town, were actually playing for us at that point, so we'd actually merged with them. So it was quite interesting to come back to a totally different team.
Yeah, I mean, when it was just me, Karen and Jenny, I got to a point where I recognised I needed some help on the coaching front. I was only a level 2. We needed a bit more than that for the girls. The level they was at, they needed more. And we started to bring in coaches, male coaches predominantly it was. We had maybe 3 or 4, and they'd last for a few months and then they'd disappear. and we didn't have that stability, and it was very frustrating. So it was then back to me again to do the coaching sessions, to do the managing, to do, you know, to do all the match day stuff. It was, it was hard. And then it got suggested to me that Danny Johnson had been across in Ireland, and he had his own coaching school across there. He was a professional player across there, and he's just come back to Hull, and you know, he's looking to get involved in coaching again. So I got his number, give him a call. He asked me a few questions. I'm like, look, I've got all these great girls here, they're great footballers. We're just not making the cut though. Why?
I remember Rachel saying to me at the time, you know, we've got this great group of players. We keep missing out on promotion. We've missed out, you know, the past 3 seasons. Why is that happening? And I remember her asking that in our first ever meeting before I've even seen the girls. So it was. I knew that there was going to be expectations as soon as I came in as well. I'm Danny Johnson, and I'm the Managing Director of Hull City Ladies Football Club. I'd just come back from playing football in Ireland, and I was contemplating my next steps, whether I was going to continue playing football. And yeah, the opportunity came up to coach Hull City Ladies.
So he come down with his good friend John Noonan, who's gone on to do great things, by the way. And he came down with him to have a look at the girls. I think it was across in Scunthorpe that day. And he said, you're right. I met him after the game. Danny had a chat with him. He met the girls. He said, you're right. They are a good set of girls. They are a good set of players, but they do need a lot of work. And it's a challenge that he would like to take on. And that was music to my ears, because after sort of knowing Danny for a couple of months, I knew he was in it for the long haul. And I knew that we'd make a good team, because we was both quite precise in what we did. We wanted the best for the club, the best for the girls, and you know, second best just wasn't good enough.
There was always an aspiration since I joined the club. When I spoke to Rachel Gay, who was a manager at the time, she had a real ambition to let the girls do really well. She knew she had a talented group of players. You know, from the first training session that I did, you know, I could really see the potential in them. You know, I saw a real clear vision, and I remember saying at the time, you know, to the players and staff, we will have players sponsored, we will have coaches, we will have supporters wanting to watch you. And you know, many people sort of challenged that, laughed at it, the idea, but I was confident and knew that it just had to be like that, because I couldn't understand why there was such a gap between women's football and men's football.
As soon as I brought Danny in, you could see immediate changes in the girls and the way they were playing and the structure and the setup from the on the field perspective. Things just went from strength to strength.
It wasn't changing too much, other than just the professionalism. You know, that first season, it was all about, right, okay, let's go and have breakfast now. There wasn't used to that, so we'd meet up prior to games, we'd have breakfast together. It's something that I was always used to. It brings the team together, and I think that air of professionalism, throughout the season, I set a challenge as well. I challenged them with saying, look, we are a good team and we want to progress, you know, to that next level. Let's get your names on the back of your shirts as well. So it's giving incentives, it's changing the culture. It was believing in them, but them believing in me as well, that we could actually achieve that next step and actually do it this season. So in terms of the players, the squad, nothing like that really changed. It was just more so changing the actual culture around the club, so we was more professional. That was tough. Again, it was more change, but they really bought into what we was doing.
Emma Westland, number 4, midfield. It's a lot higher standard now than when I think I joined. We used to just we used to go to Pickering Park to train and things like that. It's something that can't be trained on through winter and things like that. So
you're turning up to games just in your kit, you know, ready to just kick the ball on the most boggiest, waterlogged pitches, where you're just rocking up and obviously expecting to play.
With each promotion, we've improved where we train and how we train and everything that's going on around us, obviously the backroom staff and things like that.
Katie Thompson, midfield, and I'm number 14. It's just such a professional setup, and we, right from the off, you know, before a game, from pre-match tactics, we have our analysis videos, we have so much going on behind the scenes before a game that prepares us and makes us ready for whatever we are up against.
And there's just so much more structure and so much more professionalism around the club as well. We're training at least 2 times a week with the game on a Sunday. We're also having analysis sessions once a week, just to let us know, you know, what we're needing to do going forward into the upcoming games.
My name is Thomas Robinson, Head of Performance Analysis at Hull City Ladies. So my role is to head up the analysis department. It includes five other analysts, including myself, and the aim is to provide both analysis for the first team and reserve team, work closely with the players and all the coaching staff on the field to ensure that we provide as much information to players, staff, to help us succeed on the pitch. Yeah, so obviously, you know, a bit of background, you know, I listen to people that have been here a long time and seeing where they've come from, you know, merging from Beverley Town and Rach and Danny who have done that. And then in my 3 years I've been here, I've seen a massive growth, both on the field and off the field, moving on the field. I've seen a massive change in how we approach things and how we're trying to work as a, you know, a full-time club and get things sorted on the field. And I've seen off the field just massive improvements and massive strides in terms of where the club wants to be in the future.
Yeah, God, I mean, as a player, I mean, it's nothing like it is now. When you talk about 20 years ago, the players that we've got now and the youngsters coming through and the opportunities they've got, you know, a lot different to what we had. I mean, they're training maybe 2-3 times a week now. We only trained for an hour and it was probably a game of 5-a-side or something like that. You know, there was no set plays or anything like that. Whereas now it's very, very professional. And, you know, in 2011, when I took over as manager, it was just me, Karen and Jenny Kelly that was running the show. And it was tough. It was really tough, just the 3 of us. But we certainly couldn't do that now because there's so much more. I mean, if you want to go up another level, you've not just got to get it right on the pitch, you've got to get it right off the pitch. And, you know, now, as you've seen, we've got, you know, we've got you media guys here, we've got the website, we've got sponsors, and then on the pitch, we've got goalkeeper coaches, strength and conditioners, physios, you know, you name it. We have to be like a professional club. But unfortunately, not the funds, you know, that are required, and that's where these businesses come in, and that's where your likes of Worlds Engineering, these local businesses are very, very important to us.
Hi there, my name's Kevin Green, and I'm club photographer for Hull City Ladies. What the role involves is covering all their first team games and some reserve games through the season. Off the pitch, it's also covering different features that elevate the profile of the club. So it may be community-based initiatives, it may be some prize winner, some competition winner, it may be some photography with one of the sponsors and with a football player. So any of that photography is about community engagement and photography that elevates the profile of the club. For me, it's photography on the pitch during games that I've noticed the team's growth, the strength of spirit, the dynamism, the style of play, and the connection between the players. I've really noticed that, and I think that's been a really proud moment to be part of and to be part of the club during those times. I think it really struck me about perhaps the imbalance of opportunity, I suppose, to both men's players and women's football players. And the whole thing about hand-me-downs, for instance, and about teams not having their own identity, you know, through their own sportswear. So I think that really struck a chord with me. And I think when Hope and Glory got involved to create the club outfit, the club kit and getting involved in the photography there over on Humber Street here in Hull. That was really quite a precious moment because it was probably one of the recent times where the club and the players have got something that is truly their own and something they are going to, they're really very precious and very proud about to wear.
It's a really unbelievable experience to walk out onto a pitch and see fans in the stand wearing our club replica, and just, it is an unreal experience.
I think some of my favourite memories, whenever we had a night match, it used to be against Leeds United. I remember going to Leeds United. They had a good ground there at Garforth. We had a depleted squad that night, and we had a lot of young players, and they was a real force to be reckoned with, was Leeds. And we're going there, me and Danny, and we're thinking, we're hoping we keep the scoreline down a bit. But the girls, again, credit to them. They've gone out under the lights, and they managed to got a 2-1 victory. And I can remember it being 1-1, and we had a really tall player on the bench called Cassie, and Danny said to me, "Should we put her on? The last couple of minutes while we've got a free kick, she'll come on, and I bet she takes a few players away to mark her." And put the ball in, and he was right in what he said. They put a few players on this really tall girl, Cassie, and as they went up to header it, to clear it from getting to her, it went in the goal, and we ended up winning that game 2-1. And I'm giving an interview at the end of the game, and the girls, like I said, they were really young, really quiet, really naive, and I hears this massive sing-song, and I'm thinking, what's that? And they were all singing in the changing rooms, and that sticks out in my mind as well, because I'm thinking, wow, these girls have just grown in confidence, over that game, and from then on, we sort of went on and did a lot better in the league. So I think it was the first year in that league, and that really made everybody sit up and look and think, God, Hull City Ladies, they are a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, I mean, we talk about sort of, funny moments, and it was in that game. I mean, me and Danny have been trying to get the girls to be a little bit more shrewd on the pitch, and not, just trying to do things right. Like Katie, when she first joined us, back in the day when there were no linesmen, they'd kick the ball out, it'd be the other team throwing, and she'd go run and get the ball and give it back to them while she's still off the pitch. Just little things like that. So we're trying to get them to be a bit smarter. And the same Leeds game when we're winning 2-1, and there must have been about a minute to go, and somebody went through Emily Smith. Emily Smith, quiet girl, youngster, but what she is really enthusiastic. So the techs are out, and she just jumps up and goes to run off and get the ball, and I was like, Emily, calm it down. So with that, she lays on the floor and starts rolling round, and she got a yellow card for it, but it did waste a bit of time.
Yeah, so in terms of always thinking ahead and progression, my mentality has always been, focused on the following week. And one particular time I remember well was we had a big away game at Leeds United, and we went down there for the night game, and the players were incredible. Every one of them, from even the substitutes that came on and got minutes as well as the starting 11 were superb. They really showed us that evening that they could compete with the best. Obviously, they was in the league at the time with us, and they were a strong side, but we battled through, and it showed really how players were almost like sponges, and were absorbing what we was asking of them, on the training ground, and that desire to go and progress. And I think, after the game we'd won, there was great celebrations from the players. And I remember sharing a car that day with the manager, Rachel, and I remember sat in the front seat, and she jumps in the car, and she's celebrating and pumping her hands in the air, and right, let's go for a drink and celebrate. And I'm just there almost like in my own world in a stare, and she was like, "What's wrong, Danny? Why are you not happy? Why not celebrating?" And I think my response was something like, I am happy. It's just I was already thinking about the next week, the next game, and I think that's essential for. It is nice to celebrate successes. I think it's something that I'm getting used to more, is that you do need to pat yourself on the back. It doesn't matter what industry or what trade or what business you're involved in, or even football club. It's good to pat yourself on the back and say, "Oh, well done." But I think in order to succeed and progress, I think it's really important that you stay focused on what your goal is, what you want to try and achieve, and not get carried away with it as well. So the focus was just, on the following week, because if you don't back that up, a good win, a good performance in football, and you go ahead and lose the following week when you're really expected to win after what is such a good performance a week before, I think it almost puts all that to waste, really, all that effort and desire. So it's just that pure focus on what is our goal and how we're going to achieve it, and I think that runs throughout the club with anyone on the field but off the field as well.
I sat down with Danny and we shared it with the girls. We had a 6-year plan, and I think we exceeded that. We did it probably quicker than we thought we would have done the 2 promotions. But again, that's credit to the girls buying into our ideas and our ambition for not just them but for the club as a whole.
So the 2014 promotion was a really successful year all round. I'll always remember one of the games where we played Brighouse away, and it was really between us and them to get the promotion. I just remember everyone just digging in deep and putting in a great performance, and we actually beat them that day. I think I managed to bag myself a couple of goals.
The 2014 promotion, was certainly up there with one of my best memories. I remember us going away to Wakefield. We'd actually been doing really well in the league. We was beating teams quite convincingly, and there was a few games left. We went away to Wakefield, and I think we beat them by double figures, and we had a good bus journey back with Dave Bell in the minibus.
My name is Mr. David Gordon Bell. I am the bus driver or coach driver of the 16-seater minibus, and have been for the past 10 years. What I like about the girls, that they've put 100% into it, and they know where the goal is at that end of the game, and they're not passing about and kicking it into touch. It's the entertainment I get out of it. I always put a case of beer on the bus for coming back, and if they win, they have the case of beer. If they don't have the beer. And I also threaten them, if they lose, I'll play Roy Orbison tape.
There was all our family and friends waiting at the village for us, to congratulate us, and then we had a great night at the sugar mill later on, but I won't go on about that too much. And then after that, it was great of Hull City as a club. They let us parade around at the KC Stadium at half-time at the Arsenal game, and we got a standing ovation with the trophy there, and we all walked round. So that was a great experience, and one that'll stay with you forever.
Nick Barmby was one of the main players there. He took some time out to come and speak to us and congratulate us. So that was a great moment, not just for me as a player, but I think for women's football as well. Being recognised, say, nearly 15 years ago, that it's on the up, and we've got a great setup in Hull, and it'll just keep getting stronger and stronger.
I think then fast forwarding 3 years to the next promotion, the 2017, that again was a real milestone in the club, I think.
And I think the first year we were sort of always destined to get the promotion, whereas in that second promotion battle, it was a real team effort, and we had to put absolutely everything into every game, and the reward at the end of it was just fantastic.
Every team we was coming up against were quality, and every point was crucial. I remember at the back end of the season, we had a massive game away at Newcastle, and we needed the win to actually get the promotion. And we'd all planned a massive night out to go out in Newcastle afterwards, thinking, oh, we've got this in the bag. And when it actually come to it, we all played absolutely terrible. It was flat. It was just, not a very good game for any of us. And we actually lost 1-0.
when we went to Newcastle, we're thinking, wow, have we got, ahead of ourselves here? Have we peaked a little bit? And, even after the game, I'll be honest, there were a few little, few arguments in the dressing room. People were getting very edgy and thinking, are we going to slip up now at last minute?
And then what was even better was the actual following week is when we actually won the league, and that was actually at home in front of our own crowd. So it made it that little bit more special. Winning that game and getting the promotion in front of our own crowd. There was loads of family, friends there watching us, supporting us, and it was just amazing.
And the celebrations went on for quite a few weeks, including when we lifted the trophy across at Morecambe. They put on, they had champagne in the changing rooms for us. It was really nice of them. So yeah, we had a few celebrations on that one. I'd like to say that those girls on any day they would beat anybody if they was in the right mindset. We had a great group of girls there. But definitely those 2 promotions are the highlights of my managerial career at Hull City Ladies.
I'm Emily Smith. If I was to categorise myself, I'd be the short one, the fast one, and that would be it. I was playing for a team called Mallet Lambert, just a local team, and I saw that Hull City were looking for players that had just gone up in the league, and I thought, why not try it? Like, I had nothing to lose, and when I first joined, I was kind of struggling with, do I still want to play? I didn't know if I enjoyed it, and then I came to the club and it becomes like a second family. Like you kind of crave being around them all, just the energy they all have, and not just the players but like the coaching staff as well and people behind the scenes. Like, we are just one big family and you just really enjoy being around them and feel comfortable around them, and I think that's the most important thing about the club as well, how everyone is together in such a strong unit.
I think it was a few girls who I was playing with at the time for a grassroots club, and they were talking about going down for trials, and I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to go down to the club, see what it was about, and the minute I was there I fell in love with it and just thought, yeah, this is where I want to be and this is who I want to play for.
It is like an extended family. I've made some great friends at the club. It's when you get to training and you might be in a bad mood through something that's gone on in your day or whatever's going on in your life, and you can just go and forget about it, and I can text anybody in the team or anybody in the coaching staff and they'll help me out if I need, or they'll give me a bit of advice if I need. It is just that extended family what I think everybody just loves and needs.
I think I have had an emotional attachment to the club right from the off, really. From that first training session when I was there, I've always sort of felt a different kind of connection. It was more like a family rather than just being just your team that you go and rock up for on a Sunday and play. It's always been that sort of family connection. Some of the girls have now become like lifelong friends. And even I'd gone to Leeds for a year and I came back and I was just like, no, this is home. Anywhere else didn't feel like home, and here it was just, yeah, it was just right.
You battle each game and you're kind of winning and you're thinking, you know, is that going to come to a stop? And then you keep winning and that momentum's with you and the confidence. And I think when you finally get to the end and you've won, and it kind of makes that commitment you make each week worth it, and the friendships you build, like everything just gets stronger. And I think that's credit to the coaching staff we have and everybody else, just that non-stop belief and that passion that everyone gives up each week to want to be there and want to win and want to fight. And I think when you do win a title and you win that trophy, it kind of makes everything worth it.
So for any young girl, it's great to win trophies, it is, but it's almost better to win trophies, but in the right way. So it's what do you do in those times where you don't win trophies? Do you drop out the game, or do you stay in and love the game and love being with your friends and hope that if it's the right environment, then winning is going to be a byproduct of the environment that you create?
But yeah, and then obviously last year, towards the back end of last year, it was really nice actually. I sat down with Danny and we both thought the same thing. It needs freshening up. A little bit like back in the day when I was doing all the managing and coaching, it needed freshening up for us to get, you know, to the next level, and it needed that at that particular point, we was bottom of the league. Things had gone a bit stale, and you know, you're thinking we just need somebody else to come in, new ideas, new enthusiasm, and you know, a lot of time on the hands. And Danny said to me, "Do you know what? Eddie's just come back from he's just come back from Sweden," and I was like, "That is the guy we need. That is who we want." I'd worked with Eddie before. He'd done some work with Hull City Ladies and Beverley Town. Great guy, great coach. Gone on to do his UEFA, and you know, obviously managing professionally out in Sweden. So I had a chat with Eddie and said, "Would you fancy coming to meet myself and Danny?" And you know, from then on, you know, he again has bought into where we want the club to go, and he's seen firsthand what players we have. He was across at the RTC at York, so he knows what players across there would enhance our squad, and he's brought them across, like your Abby Wallace as an example, under 16 England goalkeeper. To have somebody like that in your team, you know, he's great for the future of the club. But yeah, it was time to step down. We both sort of recognised that. Danny will now do the behind the scenes stuff and manage the club. You know, I'll be involved as and where I can, but with family commitments, work commitments, it was becoming a real strain for me, and the girls deserved more than that. I couldn't give them the time that I needed, and with Eddie being a retired police officer, he had quite a bit of time on his hands, and he can now give the girls the attention they fully deserve.
We had to make many changes. Appreciate people don't like change, but it was one that, you know, Rachel stood firm with throughout, because you need that. You need good leaders to make, you know, a successful club or organisation progress, really. So it was really refreshing to see actually that somebody who's grown something themselves for a period of time actually understand that changes are needed. The transition from being head coach into managing director was one that I never envisaged when I joined the club. I think it was more out of, you know, the success that we had on the field, the players, you know, they hit their targets, and it wasn't an easy decision, because for myself, you know, as an independent club, you know, funds are scarce. I had my own coaching business at the time. So it meant difficult decisions for me. The club was getting busier all the time. I was trying to manage my own business whilst running the club. So somebody had to give in the end, and again, I had to make some difficult decisions. So ultimately, it meant me giving up my own business to, you know, again, give back and help the football world, and more so, and especially the women's game and Hull City Ladies Football Club.
We've gone from being like a known club to becoming kind of, I would say, one of the biggest clubs within like our region. Because of that, the players we bring in as well, like the talent's gone up so much more, and kind of the coaching staff that have come in, like really just, you can see it just in terms of training and games, we're improving, like training session after training session, game after game, and I think that's really inspiring, especially for people that come and watch. Like we get a lot of young fans that come and watch, and especially young girls who, I think back when I was younger, there weren't a lot of girls' teams. It was boys' teams, or you played in a boys' team and then you got to a certain age and you had to stop.
We are getting a lot more fans coming down, whereas to begin with, when I first started, it was like more like your parents and your family that sort of just came and watched. Whereas now you're getting like little girls that come and watch, and they are like fans of you, which it's nice. It's really nice to see it grown as a club and be more known. So it's really nice in that aspect.
In terms of Hull City, I know Rach has had a big influence, Danny's had a big influence, and yeah, from a young age, I think Hull City were always the team to want to play for in the local area. But obviously it's progressed even more to this day, where now it's further than just the local area that want to play for Hull. We've got players from York, from Leeds, and it's a really good setup. I think, you know, we've got coaches going into primary schools, we have got players going to different events around the city. All of that influence is just fantastic. We've got our club shop so people can buy shirts. It just raises that awareness that actually it's not just a local grassroots team, it is a professional setup that we've got, and something that we can use and move even further forward with.
To get to where we are now and how the club's progressed in that time, it's offered so much more to the players, because equally the women's game as a whole has been growing, but it's offered opportunities for the wider community. Young girls, you know, it's really important that they have role models. So you know, after that second promotion in 2017, I think with the FA backing, and you know, you've seen the England Lionesses play on TV, and the real growth of just the women's game as a whole, we timed it perfectly in terms of getting promotion, and yeah, it's something where I think the players carried more pressure. You could see that on the pitch as well. It was difficult for them. We'd climbed so quickly in terms of where we are on the pyramid in such a short space of time. I think it was tough on everybody. I kept saying it off the field to the staff, volunteers, about the direction we was going in and setting them goals, and we will get there. But along the way, I think it was always knowing that it was going to be tough.
Oh, they've moved on in leaps and bounds, as I say, from a little club playing on little park pitches, and whereas now they're at Hayworth Park, and they're getting girls from all over the country coming to play for them, which is a great improvement. They've got AD as the manager, who's doing great, and the backroom staff absolutely tremendous. It's moving on a great deal. I'm Carol Thomas, Hull City Ladies Club Ambassador. I was the former captain of the England Ladies football team. I had the pleasure of captaining them and the honour of captaining them 56 times and 51 times as captain. A year ago, Danny asked me to be the club ambassador. I think I may be wrong, but I could be the first women's international club ambassador for a women's football team. I had no hesitation in accepting, because, as I say, Hull born and bred, and I think it's great for the town. It's an honour to be asked to be the club ambassador for Hull City Ladies. I would like to think that we can fetch more sponsorship in, get the club more recognised, more recognition. For them to go forward, sponsorship is everything. The games I've seen, the girls absolutely love the club. They do anything for the club. The more sponsorship and recognition we can get, the higher level they can attain.
Obviously, we're not affiliated with the men's team, so it makes our job a little bit more difficult behind the scenes, trying to pull in the funding that's required in order for us to move up to that next tier. Again, that's what Danny's team are doing, and the sponsors play a massive part in that. And it's really important that local businesses get behind us. Like I said, we're not affiliated with the men's team. We don't get any finances from them. We are a standalone club, and these businesses in Hull, you know, that are interested in football, and maybe, you know, women's football, or maybe got daughters, wives, sisters, whatever, that are interested, you know, please come on board, come and help us. That's what we need. And, you know, the business like World's Engineering, can't speak highly enough about them, what they've done for us as a club, our main sponsor, and the sponsors of the players and the coaching staff. It's all necessary and needed in order for us to make the transition up. So please, if there are any businesses out there, please come and support your local ladies football team that are aspiring to be semi-pro.
Key partners and sponsors for Hull City Ladies Football Club are huge. They are essential, really, in the game. I think, you know, it's really nice to see the higher tiers now and what they're pulling in terms of sponsorships and deals being created. And again, I'm seeing it more so filter down into, you know, tiers 1, 2, and even further. You know, down the pyramid, you've got these clubs now in grassroots football who are, you know, picking up club sponsors, player sponsors, and that just shows the general growth of the women's game. But more particularly for Hull City Ladies is, you know, we have to be creative. We, as a standalone club, as an independent, we're competing with many clubs that do have the support mechanism of the men's club. But I think at the end of the day, when they have that attachment, there's obviously pros and cons. The pros are, you know, if they have a good relationship, they have the revenue to progress. But as a standalone, as an independent, you know, you sort of having to make your own decisions. You have to be creative in how you spend and get resources, you know, whether it be equipment, whether it's marketing, whether it's sponsorship. I think it's crucial that you build partnerships up, especially in your local community. I honestly cannot believe what the city has provided for Hull City Ladies. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, anyone who I've spoken to and have approached, you know, they've been truly honest with us. Some can't and maybe don't have the resources. Others have just been open arms and wanted to see that progression. And it's nice to see that we have now a structure that helps these businesses as well and local support. So something that I implemented very early was a model that, rather than just being a sponsor and stuck on a shirt and having a picture and thank you very much, it was a case of, look, if it was my business and I was putting money into the club, what would I want from it? And I think every season now we're progressing, and I think we've got the statistics and the proof, you know, from businesses and key partners to demonstrate the value that they get.
So Alex Robinson, I'm media executive at Hull City Ladies. Yeah, so when I first really joined the club, I saw a player sponsorship booklet, and it had all our social media impressions, and I thought we've really over-egged these stats. And then while I was doing the social media for the last 6 months, I found that these stats are real. We are reaching over like 2 million people of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on the website, LinkedIn. And yeah, so these stats are really good impressions. In December, we did Hull City Ladies Advent Calendar. So one of my ideas was just to highlight the players and the key sponsors, partners. And I thought the campaign went really good with over 300,000 social media impressions alone.
I think as a key partner, it's really quite a privilege and fantastic opportunity to be part of something that is growing and it's exceeding a number of expectations, and it's meeting a number of targets that elevate itself as a club and also elevate me as a business and as a photographer.
Our main sponsor, Wolds Engineering, for the past 2 seasons, absolutely fantastic. We knew that we needed financing to get to the next level, to grow the club, to offer youth development and so on. And yeah, Wolds Engineering, without them, and we wouldn't progressed as quickly as what we have done and where we're at today. So it's for, you know, local organisations and companies like that really do make a big difference for clubs like us.
And now we've got our own academy, which you know, is fantastic for this area. That means that girls that maybe aren't selected for the RTCs come and get high quality standard of coaching in their own city, and to be able to retain those players who are from Hull and then go on and play for Hull City, whether it be in the reserves, which is something that, again, myself and Danny set up a reserve squad. It's necessary to make that transition from a 16-year-old somewhere to play, to progress up into the first team.
Hi, my name's Daniel Jackson. I'm reserve team manager for Hull City Ladies. For a reserve team in women's football, it's highly important. You can't just depend on first team players. You always need a big squad to be able to cope with the demands of women's football. There are a lot of games that go out through the year, and reserve team football allows girls that are between, say, 16 and 21 to be able to develop so that they're there to be able to go and make that step into first team football. Because when you look at the local area, at the moment there is a big jump between football that's local and the FA Women's National League third tier. And then when we look at that towards the Championship and the Super League, the jump's just going to get even bigger. So reserve team football is highly important to be able to give those girls the chance to showcase their talents and play against teams and players that are at the same level or better.
And hopefully with this academy, they'll be able to do the same thing from a younger age group. There'll be a pathway leading all the way up to the reserves and the first team, should they be good enough, without them having to travel, because it is quite difficult. Parents, reliant on parents to travel to these RTCs, and some just can't do it. So to be able to get that professional coaching from your hometown will be great. Plus there'll be our players down there as role models, helping these girls on. You know, and like I said earlier, that's something I never had when I was growing up. There was no female role models, really, sporting, football role models, whereas now, you know, you haven't just got them nationally, you've got them in your hometown.
So important. I don't think there's been enough of it in the last sort of 5-10 years for young girls who want to play at a really good standard. I think it stands the women's team that we have in good stead, because it means that then when those players move further up the academy, they can understand how we play, and it's just a smoother transition right from the beginning for them players to come in and play for the first team as well.
With the players that we have now going into the academies and helping, and the coaches that we have at the academy, there's so much talent coming through, and I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's special and kind of rewarding for them to see where they can get when they watch us. To be at those academies, like, people want to be there, it's a happy environment, and I think when they see us in the first team and how kind of together we are, that runs through to like all the different levels as well.
Yeah, so our Girls Academy at Hull City Ladies Football Club, it will provide girls of all ages an opportunity to play football. That's at any level as well. We're looking to work with local clubs around the region. So as opposed to RTCs where they maybe have to leave their local clubs, we've got a model that actually enhances and works with local clubs to develop these footballers, to give the girls the best possible opportunity to progress. And I think it's really nice to see that, you know, the FA initiatives and the funding that's being provided now, you know, they've just made another commitment for the next 4 years and said that there should be, you know, 90%, I think it is, of schools where they should have girls football as part of the curriculum. So that just demonstrates that, you know, there's still work to be done in the game. There's still barriers to be broken down and overcome. But I think, generally speaking, like I said, the investment, the time, the commitment of, you know, the FA Women's National League, from community clubs, are all working together collectively to get more girls playing the sport. And it's really nice to see, you know, we've had great rapport with local academies and RTCs over the years, which are regional talent centres. That's where they run the England pathway, that's where they can get recognition, and, you know, we've recruited really well through them. But what we've found is that the local RTCs to Hull, Leeds, Doncaster, York, so they're all over an hour's travel. We've got talented people in this area, some of which who can't travel to these places. So it was really important that we provided something that bridged the gap to offer girls more contact time, so that when they're actually coming to us at 16, they've had enough contact time and that they're ready for senior football, and we can provide a pathway for them that's clear into our senior section. You know, if they're good enough and they've got that drive to progress even further, maybe into tiers higher than ourselves, again, we could be a stepping stone for that, or we can encourage that. We're bringing in some really good members of staff, you know, the highest, you know, qualified staff. So we've got A licensed coaches that are joining us. So the girls are being provided the best training facilities, the best coaches. They have everything at the disposal to progress as footballers, and hopefully we'll see that develop not only in the academy but in our foundation for those players who maybe just want to even try playing the game. So it's really exciting time.
So I think these girls, young girls now, have got a lot to aspire to, and they've got it there on the doorstep. So, you know, I can't speak highly enough about this new academy. It's great for the city, great for the young girls, and I'm just hoping that, you know, we'll get loads down and hopefully we can keep them in Hull rather than them going elsewhere. Not that we'd stop them, you know, if they're good enough to go and play for your Man Cities, you know, like Jess Park's done great, absolutely great. Good luck to those girls. But if we can play a little hand in that from maybe giving them a bit extra at coaching at our academy, you know, and have a hand in their progression and then moving up into women's football, then that would be fantastic.
If the club wants to move forward and go to higher leagues, to have an academy and fetch the younger girls up, it's really important, and hopefully get a bit more into the schools, get the young girls coming through from the schools and then into the academy, and hopefully move forward in that respect.
Yeah, the ambition of Hull City Ladies is obviously to progress now, and we're looking at a new plan for the next sort of 5 years really. Within that time we've got aspirations to reach the real pinnacle of women's football in Tier 1. Obviously there's Tier 2 just above us. So we've got big goals at the club.
I obviously think a lot about what we've achieved, you know, in the last 10 years since I've been manager, and don't get me wrong, I'm very, very proud of what I've achieved, and there's been a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, tears, you know, great times, bad times, tough times, but, you know, I think that makes you the person that you are today. You've got to go through them times, and you've got to look realistically at yourself and go, what are my capabilities, what are my own limits? And you know, and know the time to make change and the time to sort of step aside. But yeah, am I proud? Of course. You know, it's great. You know, even at school, and the kids come up to me, "Oh, are you Hull City Ladies manager? Or was you Hull City Ladies manager?" And you know, to say yeah with a big smile on my face and go, "Yeah, they play in the third tier of the you know, women's football pyramid," and you know, I played a massive part in getting them to that. And, you know, that does make you feel very proud indeed. So don't get me wrong, I'm proud of what I've achieved, you know, no end. But, you know, I know there's a lot more that this club can do going forward. You know, I'd like to play a big part in the club progressing even further, and I know they will. And to know that I've got them to this level where they can achieve that second tier makes me proud, makes me smile. Is that all right? I don't want to big myself up.
Nailed it. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, have I just lied? Oh, crap. Have I just lied then? Don't matter, does it? I thought it was that same day. Isn't it weird how you can make stuff up in your own head? Let me start again.
I'll probably stitch myself up when I say this, and it was one that sticks out in my memory. I think we'd just finished training one night and we'd been training on the fields, and there was 3G pitches next to us. And I'm chatting to a player, and it was a really, you know, good conversation about how well she's doing and areas of improvement. And, you know, I was very passionate, you know, on the training ground, and I'm really focusing, and I'm chatting away to her, and as we're walking and I'm explaining, I'm going, yeah, we need to do this thing. So slowly talking, and all attention and eyes on this player, and all of a sudden, bang, there was a big pile on the floodlights, and I just walked straight into it and nearly knocked myself out. But that was one of them where, you know, the players were in stitches and creased over. I just walked into this floodlight at the side of the training ground. But yeah, there's been so many good moments. Yeah, you couldn't miss it really. You couldn't miss it.
And fell on my two bum cheeks during the warm-up. A few cheers from the crowd there.
Are you falling over in pre-season? I don't watch football, so I didn't have any idea.
It's not really for me. Like I football. I don't, which like is like really bad considering like I like. Do you know what I mean? But like, stick that in there.
You're definitely going to make an outtake.
Stay safe, everybody, and enjoy ladies' football.